Good evening, dear ones. So wonderful to be here with all of you. Thank you, thank you, thank you for choosing to spend not just the winter solstice evening with us, but a day that many of us on the planet, certainly 4 million Mayan people, and so many, many others have looked toward for so very long. It's very special to be here. My name is Jim Papp, and this is my lovely wife, Lisa. What is it to be Mayan? To be Mayan is not the color of your skin. To be Mayan is your consciousness. Those were the words told to Lisa and me 8 years ago today on winter solstice at the temple of Ake in the Yucatan in Mexico, when we were blessed to be given a Mayan marriage at that temple. It's an amazing thing to consider. It's an invitation into the world of the Maya when one is told that it's not the color of your skin, it's your consciousness. As I mentioned, this is a day that so many on the planet have waited for so long, and there's been so much wondering about what's going on. Well, we know that we're all here, and that's a blessed thing, but for the Mayans, they never had even a moment of doubt that that would be the case. For their prophecies never said all the things that we heard about in the newspapers and the internet and the worries and the wonder. So what is happening at this time of 21st December 2012? Well, according to the Mayan elders, we have just finished a very, very long calendar cycle of over 5,000 years. It's called the fourth sun. Each of these 5,000 plus year cycles are actually about 5,125 years is called a sun, and there were 3 before that. This fourth sun, according to the elders, has been governed by male energy, and we can probably see that that would be the case when we look at how we've projected ourselves into the world and how we've come up with all these amazing technological marvels. But it's also been an overuse of power. And the fifth sun, according to the Maya, is a balance of male and female energies. Each of the long suns that preceded were alternatingly governed by female and male energies, but this new sun, the fifth sun, is about balance. If there was one word that would sum up the Mayan approach to living, it would be this: harmony. The Maya talk about a return to harmony, about the restoration of balance, about what they call as a phrase, a return to the natural order. And so here we are on the 21st of December, leaving the fourth sun and entering the fifth sun. But as a little aside, let's take a look back at the last 25 years, because technically the fourth sun ended on August 16th, 1987, a date that many of you will recall as the harmonic convergence, which was the end of another particular group of calendar cycles that happened to start on the day that Hernando Cortez landed in the Gulf of Mexico from Spain. That was a dark period that began and a dark period that was concluded. And one could say that we've been pregnant with the fifth sun since 1987. And maybe sometimes pregnancies aren't easy. Now we are birthing the new sun, the fifth sun. And the elders told us that there would be no great fireworks. There would be no big show, because when a baby is born, it can't do very much. It can't walk and it can't talk. So we're entering a particular cycle that is a 52-year period called a calendar round. 52 years is also the cycle of the Pleiades, as observed vertically in the sky from the part of the world where the Maya reside. And so this 52-year period that we're entering into is divided into 4 periods of 13 years each. We are going to have 13 years living as infants in our new way of being on the planet. This new way of being on the planet having to do with self-respect, mutual respect, and respect for the planet that sustains us. We're already seeing indications of an overwhelming urge from the hearts of humans towards this when we see evidence before us, such as the Occupy movement, such as Arab Spring, such as marriage equality, such as the wish to simply have the ingredients in our food put on the label. We're seeing many, many more indexes across all of the span of human life that is a wish for that respect. Then we'll have 13 years of being toddlers is our new way of being on the earth. Then we're going to have 13 years as adolescents where we're starting to figure some stuff out. We're going to have 13 years of being young adults. And by the end of that 52-year period, the more physical manifestation of whatever this new way of being, which is perhaps really an old way of being with new tools, will become more apparent. But here we are, making this shift already into the new world. Lisa showed me this birth2012.com website that has a list, a map actually, of all the events that are happening at this time, simultaneously over a 1 to 2 day period on the planet. And the flags that you can see of all the different locations of people just like you and me who are doing something to celebrate this transition and to imagine the world before us. It's an incredible amount of people doing the same thing in the same time in their own way. Tonight we're going to have a ceremony using these doors. These doors were created by 4 artists, including myself, the others being Ray Pelly, Rob Shoughton, and Milo Duke. We made them 1 day a week over 7 years in our studio near the old King Dome in Pioneer Square in Seattle. And these 7 doors are many things. Among them are the 7 chakras. Also, we considered this project, the door project, to be a representation of the body of Quetzalcoatl, the Mesoamerican hero figure who brought art and science to his people and worked to eliminate sacrifice and so forth. A truly amazing figure in the history of all of the tribes of the native peoples of what we call Central America. We're going to be going through these doors, and I'll just describe briefly what we're going to do so there's not confusion about what you're going to do. Lisa and I are going to go through these doors, and then the camera is going to take a long shot through the doors with them all open so that the people who are viewing us live, you, and see what it looks like. And then our friend Eric, who is our co-host, is going to lead through, and then all of you are invited to follow. You're not required to, but you may if you wish, and we're going to circle around. We're going to go through the doors, and then we're going to alternate and come back around, some on this side, some on this side, in the shape of a torus, and we're just going to go for 20 or 25 minutes, or however long it makes sense to do it, and think about going through the gateway. Think about going from the 4th world to the 5th world. Think about leaving behind that which no longer serves you or your beloved, or for that matter, the people who make your shoes halfway across the earth, and imagine what is in store. Think of the things that you're grateful for, the things that you carry in your heart that are dear, whatever they are to you. Take them with you through the portal. You're going to get through the portal, you're going to see a mirror. You're going to see yourself. You are the portal. We go within to find the treasure. And so we are hoping to be blessed tonight with having a group experience of some kind that is symbolic of the journey that we're all taking. The first day that we showed these doors in public was at Westlake Park outside Nordstrom in Seattle in February of 1997. There was a diminutive woman with long silver hair there named Mary, and it turned out that she was a Mayan and she was a teacher. I had returned from Palenque and Chiapas in Mexico. The first time I had been there, I'd returned the day before. she was leaving the very next day to go to the same place. We had an upward spiraling conversation that involved goosebumps, and she politely bothered me for about a year to come study with her. And eventually I did that and had started going through lessons and initiations. And then things just kept happening. And Elder Humbat's men, who I referred to earlier, who talked about what it is to be Mayan, 8 years ago today, he married Lisa and me. After 20 years of civil marriage, he married us at the Temple of Ake in Mexico. And it was a 3-hour-long experience on one of the most beautiful days I could ever hope to have. I'm going to tell you another story because all of us have stories, and I would like to share what this means to me, because we all have experiences in life that give us our why, that give us the reasons why we make the choices to live the way we do. When I went to Palenque again in the year 2000, I was there all day, and right as the temples closed, I went back outside to where the buses take you into town, and I was looking through the various stalls that had artwork and crafts and so forth. And I started going to the bus, and then, I'm going to go back and look at one more stall. And I met a Mayan man, Chol Maya, named Pedro, and he surprised me when he told me that he recognized me, that he saw me in his dream, and then he knew I would be coming. And that was a fairly wild thing to hear, whether I thought he was joking or not. We ended up spending the evening in town visiting, learning about each other's lives. And at one point, he was asking me about my marriage. And he wanted to know if you and your wife, do you work together? Aren't you partners in life? And I said, well, I have my job and I have my interests, and she has her job and she has her interests. We love each other, we support each other, but we do our own things. And he looked at me a little quizzically, and he put his finger out, and he went, "Then you were lost." And when he did that, I was like a piece of glass that broke into 1,000 pieces, and my whole life crumbled, in a sense, before my eyes, and a tremendous wave of anxiety and realization overcame me, as I knew in that moment that I was living really only for myself, and that I was really pretty selfish. I needed to go home. I left early. I needed to start learning about what it meant to be with someone and not just be married. I needed to learn what it meant to be in community and not just to try to go out and win by being able to play music or show my art at galleries. It was about something larger. And while it may sound simple, sometimes we can have experiences in life and we look back in our rearview mirror and we realize that they were turning points, they were inflections that put us on a certain track to help us learn the way that we came here to live. And so I share that out of gratitude for what I've learned from the beautiful Mayan people, because they have given so much value, and they at this time, along with many other indigenous lines, are sharing what they know because they feel that humanity needs it. We need to take advantage of the traditions that have very, 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 very deep roots, because we are explorers. We are going out there. We are so far out. We have forgotten that we're all together in this. We have forgotten our connection. We have forgotten how much we depend on so many people who we know and so many people who we will never, ever even know their name to live. The people that made our food, that made our clothing, that built our houses, and so forth. So that brings me to the subject of gratitude, because gratitude is a central aspect of the Mayan teachings, and amazingly, beautifully, it's a central aspect of almost all the teachings that there are. It seems to me to be a core where so many traditions share the heart. In the Mayan creation myth, the creators, the makers and the modelers, the gods, they decided one day to make people, to make human beings. And I won't go through the story because it takes them 4 attempts to do it. It's not easy just making human beings. They only expected 3 things of us. So what were the 3 things that the makers and the modelers expected of people? They expected us to remember who made them. They expected us to count the days according to the sacred calendar, and that is something that we can learn about more in the future when we talk about what our Mayan signs are and how we connect to the matrix that we're all connected to. And they expected us to give thanks, not just to them, but to give thanks for what we have, to make offerings, to appreciate what we're given in life, and to give thanks for those things so as not to be given more burdens to have to bear and work through. There is a practicality to this. So I think we will stop here as far as the Mayan talk. That's plenty to share, and we're going to get ready for the ceremony.